in this very moment, something has to be said. And that's what I'm here to talk about, which is I believe that we are leaving the most powerful thing about podcasts behind. That's what we're in danger of right at this moment. So, okay, what's so great about audio? Who cares? Does it matter? Why don't we just, forget about it? I'm gonna show you why audio matters, okay? Here's a stat that I think is very illustrative. When we look at WaitWhat shows, and I'm sure many of yours on audio versus on video platforms, okay, a view, we're very happy to get YouTube views, but typically we're looking at 30 seconds. If we're lucky, a minute, 2 minutes. If we're looking at Apple Podcasts and Engage Listen, 20 minutes, okay? 20 minutes, 30 minutes. That is a huge, huge difference of the way an audience is interacting with your content. And so as we live in the attention economy, as we all know, and we're struggling to get people to pay attention, audio is kind of where it's at. So to demonstrate this, I'm going to talk about what's going on in our brains a little bit. Why do people stick with audio for so long? So let's do just a little experiment right now, okay? I'm going to demonstrate for you the theater of the mind. So let's just take a listen. Some of you out of headphones might be easier to pay attention. And I just want you don't have to close your eyes, but just listen to this.
If I was somehow asked to say only one thing about the place I'm from, it would be that it has this unforgettable smell when it rains. It's slightly floral, but mostly it's this very specific, cool, earthy desert aroma. And there's usually a calm, clear breeze, which carries these concentrated little pockets of fragrance. Oh my God, there it is. The smell comes from the creosote bush, a resilient plant that thrives only in this particularly arid landscape.
Could you see what she was describing? It's not too far from here, El Paso. That was from Anything for Selena. And here's what just went on with your brain. Okay, we've got, as I'm sure many of you know, these different areas in our brain. And this I actually took from numerous neurological studies and asked Claude to create the image for me, but there are my sources. So we have your prefrontal cortex. That's your attention and emotional regulation, and oxytocin is being released. We have the yellow, the auditory cortex, which of course you're hearing words. But let's look in the back. The visual cortex is lit up bright because that's when you're creating those pictures. That part of the brain is way more active than when you're sitting back and watching a video and having images fed to you. You combine that with the Broca's and Wernicke's area, language centers. There is empathy and mirroring that's going on when you're listening to a voice. So, in the end, video is giving your brain a picture. When you have to work to create the theater of the mind, that movie in your mind, that has a bigger impact to your memory, to your empathy. It stays with you longer. So, just so you don't think I'm just talking about the soul of audio for an emotional reason, this has real implications. So when we look at statistics from which study was this? Yeah, the iHeartMedia study. So podcasts are 23 times more trusted than social media. 72% of weekly listeners take action after hearing a podcast. We know how many hours listeners spend, and it's just growing. I think we saw in the Infinite Dial study that listenership is growing year on year. At WaitWhat, our audio ads command a premium. The big brands that come to us, whether it's Microsoft, Capital One, Stripe, etc., they see real value in our story-based audio ads. These are 90-second ads with a producer voice, with an interview. They're a little bit of non-narrated. Those are highly valuable to our sponsors because they stick with people. They are really happy for us to feature their customers and their employees as real humans. So that stickiness of the brain, the theater of the mind, is making those messages have an impact with listeners. So to talk about the non-commercial argument, let's just look at some of the really incredible narrative journalism that came out of this audio renaissance, they had amazing impacts in the world beyond the podcast. Yes, it was great storytelling, but some of these shows exonerated people. Some of these shows had listeners calling in and help solve a crime because they had that emotional impact. People kept listening. They were deeply moved and affected by these shows. So we can also look at the Sounds Profitable podcast landscape from 2025 when people were surveyed about what matters to them most about the podcast they listen to. Number one is discussion on topics they care about, companionship. Celebrities, not so much. I'm not saying there's nothing great about celebrity podcasts, but maybe we don't need to keep making more of those. So knowing all this, what has happened in the past couple of years? I know many of my peers lost work at Gimlet, Pineapple, Wondery. Public radio was defunded. Video has become this kind of one, we're hoping for it to be the silver bullet for this, but I think that if we completely leave audio behind, then we risk what is essential to podcasting disappearing. There is a hunger for audio that remains that you can see in real life. This is a photo from the Tribeca Festival in 2025, where people are coming to a theater listening to an audio drama of Hamlet. You can see it at festivals like On Air, like Resonate, and live tours. It's not a dying medium. There's real fandom. The demand clearly exists from everything we've seen, but there's still not a satisfying system for it. So I think we're at a real cultural inflection point. There's a real opportunity here. I'm not here just to be doomsdaying. The positive of this is there's a real opportunity that remains. Here are things that I want to leave you all with thinking about is what's our collective action? Let's build this consumer case for audio together. Let's think about new funding and subscription models. Maybe there are ways we can package content differently. And let's really have business and tech thinkers putting energy into solving the platform problem, not just with video. So video may grow podcasting, but audio is what makes it worth saving. Let's invest in audio. Thank you, and your brain will thank you.